PvP or PvE. The player base has long been distributed between these two aspects of the game. I won't say divided because there is a lot more PvE players than PvP players. In fact, it's fair to say that Blizzard aims the game more towards PvE. The fact that there hasn't been a new BG for 4 years now is pretty telling, and unacceptable if you ask me. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I tend to go back and forth between PvE and PvP, but I do have a preference. If I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say 60% PvP, 40% PvE. Although I enjoy my fair share of PvE, it can get grindy and repetitive, especially now with the 4 difficulty levels in raiding. Mythic Plus is basically the same thing with a slight twist, but essentially you're doing the same shit over and over and over again. That's what eventually gets me in PvE. I get bored and that's when I gravitate towards PvP. PvP is a whole different ballgame. I've always felt more accomplished in PvP. Winning a hard-fought BG or a 3-minute 1v1 fight is very rewarding. Don't get me wrong, downing a boss is very rewarding as well, but PvP has one gigantic difference: the human factor. No two battlegrounds are alike, ever. The human factor doesn't allow it. An NPC won't jump off a cliff to avoid being killed by you. A player will. Who hasn't seen people jumping off Lumbermill in the Arathi Basin just to try and avoid players from killing them? And who hasn't seen 2 or 3 dumbasses, myself included, tunneling that person and jumping down with them just to make sure we kill them? Winning a battleground can come down to silly things like this. Luring players to do dumb shit, baiting people at the ramps of Goldmine while a rogue ninja caps the node. It's stuff like this that PvE doesn't have. Psychology is a factor. You get riled up by the rogue that keeps ganking you, the healer that simply won't die. PvP is a living organism always transforming around you. PvE will always be a rotation, a repetition. You practice and study hard enough and it becomes second nature. A sequence of actions that never change. In PvP, all the experience in the world won't guarantee you a win when fighting another player. At higher and competitive levels, it's almost like a chess game. Fake casting, cooldowns, and trinket management, the list goes on. Of course, when I speak of PvP, I distance myself from Arena. I've done it in the past, but BGs are my thing. The strategy and teamwork feel more interesting to me. Not that Arena doesn't have strategy, it does, but it's different. In BGs, you have to not only focus the correct target, but also play the objectives of the map. And, in my opinion, Arena lacks the amount of unpredictability that BGs can have. I could go on for hours talking about Warsong Gulch matches that took a turn in the last minute for an unexpected win. I like the system of those maps, Warsong Gulch and Twin Peaks, last cap wins if tied. I love how that system keeps the game alive. Even if you're up by 1 and the other team caps twice, you still need 1 more cap to win. The other team can't relax with a 1 cap margin. It's great stuff and a lot better than the old system where the first team to 3 cap won with no timer. It made for very long matches, not Alterac Valley long, but I remember spending upwards of 45 minutes to an hour inside of a Warsong Gulch match more than once. There is another aspect of PvP that I enjoy, and that's World PvP. The ability to spontaneously engage another player for any or no reason at all. There's nothing like the sweet taste of victory when someone jumps you and you beat the living shit out of them. I'm not so much an attacker as I am a defender. I usually don't pick fights, but I don't mind when they find me. I like the rush PvP servers have. You're out in the world, questing or farming, and shit might go down in a split second. The tension that it can be to cross paths with the opposite faction on the road. Will he attack me? I love that. Do I die a lot? Yes sir, especially now with the very real faction unbalance problem, but I love it nonetheless. What I don't like, however, is assholes one-shotting lobbies, camping low-level areas and being a detriment to another player's experience. Any form of PvP on which you know you can't lose isn't really PvP. It's being a dickhead. It's lashing out your frustrations on someone because the big boys keep beating you up. I have some advice for those players. Get good, learn to play, get in BGs, arenas, and learn how to defend yourself for real. A million deaths will make you a better player, trust me. A topic that usually comes up when talking about PvP and PvE is which type of player is better, or which type of player will migrate better to the other side. Will a good PvE player be a good PvP player, and vice versa? There is a good analogy for this. Actors. Stage actors usually do well in films and television. Why? Because theater is unforgiving. You can't mess up your lines. You need to have the mental agility to keep the show going if you or another person fucks up. It creates a backbone of experience that you simply don't get from just doing television or film. Film is the art of detail. You repeat and polish until everything is perfect and flawless. So in my mind, the PvP player is the stage actor and the PvE player is the film or television actor. From my own experience, I think a PvP player will probably do better in PvE than a PvE player will in PvP. I think this is because of the constant changing circumstances a PvP player has to deal with. I've always adapted extremely quickly to a PvE boss strategy, and I think I owe that to PvP. I honestly do. Take casters for instance. In a PvE scenario, a mage can be moving once every X amount of seconds from point A to point B or C. In the meantime, all the mage has to do is maximize the rotation, maximize his DPS. In PvP, however, that mage will rarely get to free cast for more than 5-10 seconds before someone is trying to kill him. Thus was born the art of PvP kiting. Very hard to master. I've always had enormous respect for PvP kiting. It's really not an easy task. Now put that PvP master kiter in a PvE environment. Do you think you'll have trouble moving around and multitasking? I don't think so. And I think I've rambled on for long enough. What do you think? PvP or PvE? Which one is better? Which one makes you a better player? Your thoughts and opinions are more than welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and leave a thumbs up on your way out. See you next time, guys.